annual progress report. And it says that, and this report was published in June 2024. This report that he refers to is published in June 2024. And the report says that 41.2% of children of secondary school going age were actually in school in 2023. 41.2. So clearly, about 57%, more than 57% of children who are supposed to be in secondary school are not in secondary school. This is the report he's quoting. Now, this is compared to 40% in 2022. Okay? So it means that between 2022 and 2023, the percentage increase in terms of the numbers of children who ought to be in secondary school was actually 1.2%. Only 1.2%. Now that's very interesting. Then he goes down and also finds the figures that the net enrollment ratio for kindergarten, the very foundation of education system, plunged from 85.2 to 65.2% over the same period. So the numbers of children who are going into kindergartens has reduced by a whooping 20%. That's very, very significant. And then primary school, those who went to primary school, actually fell from 93% to 79%. This is the true state of education. You understand? Then JHS, junior high school, also fell from 73.2% to 58.8%. Barandi, there's more. What is more is what is described as what they call the completion rate. Honorable, I hope you are listening.
I'm listening.
The completion rate recorded a decline to 58.7% in 2022-23 from 68.3% in 21-22 academic year. What does that mean? So if you're talking about the completion rate, it means only 58.7% of those who enter senior high school came out after the 3-year period. The rest dropped out. So you're talking about a dropout rate of close to 40%. Okay. So all these figures which are being bandied about, and there's a lot more, you can read it yourself, All these figures that are being bandied about, what does it really mean?
So Kwesi, Kwesi,
yeah.
You see, if this country were to cut off a lot of hypocrisy and vote harvesting tactics, and we were to really focus on the importance of education, we will be able to prioritize things well and do things much better if we were to eschew all the things that I've raised. The coalition of CSOs in education, they held a big presser after I interviewed Kofi Asare of EduWatch on this, and their focus was on basic education and how basic education has been suffering in this country. We forget that you don't start school from secondary 1. You start from somewhere. So you need to go through somewhere before you get to secondary 1. That's the first stop. And we don't expect people to also end education at secondary 3. Do you get what I'm saying? And so you always need to have a holistic view about this. But to the extent that we believe that review means cancellation, we even have a phobia of reviewing policies that we put in place, even to find out whether the objectives that we set out are being achieved or not. So I am not surprised by what you've put out. In fact, recently, EduWatch, I think about 2 months ago, they even put out data which suggests that close to about 150,000 kids are not even entering secondary school. As we speak today, we know that in the last 3 or 4 years, parents and all students and others are being called upon to make expenditure in areas where when free SHS started, we were told that I hope you remember that advert. Means that all you have to do is to just go and bath and you present yourself, you are in school. But today, we know the reality. We know I can pull out official statements. Remember the controversy over PTA dues, where the position when free SHS started was that no, if we allow PTA dues to be charged and students are kicked out of school for failure to pay PTA dues, it then defeats government's program. So no way. Parents spoke about it, so that look, this thing plays a crucial role. Today, as we speak, are PTA dues being charged or not? Is any head of institution being sanctioned for charging PTA dues? Has the ministry issued a statement to say, hey, PTA dues is illegal, don't charge it? We know what the cost of the prospectus is today. Now, so if we say that a policy was to eliminate the financial barrier, because that was a barrier to accessing education by a lot of people, have we done the assessment, since people are not comfortable with review, have we done the assessment to find out whether indeed that barrier that we said we are taking had indeed been taken, still exists, or is even in a worse form? And you read an interesting statistic, which is about those who actually complete secondary school. Now, what we also do disingenuously is that we pick enrollment figures and put enrollment figures together and then mention a figure and say that, oh, X number of people went through it. Meanwhile, if you juxtapose the enrollment figure as against the completion figure, you will see a certain deficit. And nobody is even asking the question, why are we not interested in the fact that X number of people entered, but only why are completing? Why are we not even interested that X number of people completed the JHS, but only why? And we are told that now we are looking at 150,000 who are not accessing. Why are we not asking all these questions? Why are we not interested in the fact that now the thing is moved towards cost sharing, such that today the burden, the financial burden on parents is far, far higher than it was 7 years ago, 8 years ago? Why are we not asking those questions? But we've left the thing to some partisan, play and all that. And at the end of the day, we don't even realize that how we have positioned the thing is going to hurt all of us in the long run. I don't understand. I just don't understand.
Anyway, I think the point is so well made. The point is so loudly made that perhaps I need not proceed any further. These are very damning statistics from a state institution, the National Development Planning Commission, on the state of education, and this makes absolute nonsense of the figures which have been spent on free SHS. You understand clearly. These figures are so damning, that this whole thing about all media houses or many media houses focusing on how much has been spent on free SHS. So we can put that in the corner.
I'll comment on it when you are done.
Okay, but I will put that in a corner until you raise it again, and then we can look at it.
But does that not also give us an official government figure of how much government has spent so far?
Absolutely.
It does. I'm asking, does that also not give us the official figure from government on how much has been spent so far on the policy?
What does that tell us? Beyond the fact that this is how much we have spent, what does it tell us?
It says 5.7 million young people have benefited. That's a fact.
But it doesn't tell us. Yes, yeah.
I'm
But
saying,
but the facts which are
so
omitted.
you
Honorable,
see-
please, listen.
But the media review will not give you this. The media review ordinarily will not give you all this figure. I'm happy you're giving me the statistics, Kwesi.
Honorable,
It's fantastic, and I
Honorable,
like the problems.
Do you know how statistics lies? Statistics lie by the omission of facts.
The
Yes,
5.7
yes,
million is an aggregation of enrollment figures.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But I'm saying,
But
But it doesn't tell you how many
is
people
that the
actually
real story?
complete.
see, when you said,
Can I finish?
Oh, sorry, I'm sorry.
No problem. But you see, if you give me the number of people who are entering senior high school, and you don't tell me the number of people who complete, you have actually lied in a way.
Kwesi, can you imagine if SHS was not even around? These figures would have been worse. Trust me.
Based on what?
I'm telling you.
Based on what?
But for free SHS, this
Based
figures you are
on
saying
what?
would have been worse.
Which figures?
Oh, Kwesi,
Based on what?
I'm telling you that the figures you are talking about, even enrollments, those who are not even able to go out and all, it would have been worse.
Based on what? How do you come to this conclusion that it will have been
In
worse?
my
But
constituency,
Honorable, let me ask you.
in my constituency, let me just give you a practical
Yes,
example. In my constituency,
Yes.
when I took over as MP, I went to the Education Directorate. I just wanted to understand what was happening. They gave me some statistics. If 100 people write BEC in my constituency, at the time I took over, only 38 of them proceed to SS. So I asked what was the reason. Randy, two main reasons: financial, academic. The records, academic performance.
Okay.
So the academic performance was my duty as an MP to ensure that is taken care of. Randy, today our enrollment has moved to 80%.
Okay.
80%.
So let me ask you.
And significantly, it's because of the free SHS.
So Honorable, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. In your constituency today, do parents have any the financial burden that was taken off them in 2017?
You see, in my constituency,
Yes.
what used to happen was that people would call me as a member of parliament, even if I became a member of parliament. Oh, honorable, school fees, honorable this.
School fees
Yes. SS. In my constituency.
for boarders or
Boarders
day
and all that.
students?
Yes, boarders.
Boarders. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
They used to call me for school fees, even day students. I'm telling you, Randy, because at the time, if you read the 2027 budget, it was just 38 cedis. That's what I allocated for school fees. So I was still getting calls. Now, Randy, I can tell you in all honesty, I hardly get calls for school fees. What I get, what the calls I get for, I got one call from one student from my place. I think we were doing extra classes.
Okay.
So they were getting close to exams. Say they are doing extra classes, but I don't get calls for PTA and all those things.
So the parents in your constituency are able to foot the prospectus.
No, you asked a
bills.
question about
Yes.
the kind of calls I get. And I'm telling you now, I don't get calls for those
Okay,
things.
honorable.
I don't.
Honorable, look, I have no right to doubt what you're saying. Accept your integrity and everything. You're a member of parliament in an area. And you find that the numbers of people entering senior high school or senior secondary school is about 30% of those who want to enter. And you don't care. You notice that that number has increased to 80%. You don't care how many people finish from 1. You don't care how many people finish from 2. You don't care the rate of dropout. Because that is essential. Because eventually, you may find out if you do the proper assessment and so on, that the numbers of people who are actually going through the system and coming out qualified as graduates of senior high school is only 40% or less.
Okay, so
you may find out in the constituency that they may actually not have exceeded the 30% that you are complaining about.
I get you, but I get you. I get the statistic. Maybe I can push and get that. But in my country, I have 4 secondary schools, boarding house, 4 secondary schools. 90% of the people who write BEC in my constituency end up in those 4 schools. So there's very little issue about his house. Most of them are within the
community.
The community. So I'm going to say you'll be surprised. I will not be surprised if I go to check in terms of the output. You'll be surprised that out of this 90, almost 80% will come out. Because most of them.
Master, you are conjecturing the figures.
I'm not. I'm just giving you. I'm just giving you the peculiar nature.
On what basis do you come up with 90% or 80%?
No, for the 90% I know. Because I go to the four secondary schools. I told the four secondary very
Which
often.
schools are these?
This is Tetrim Secondary School. You have Efijamai Sectec. You have Efijamai Secondary School. There's a Sectec, and there's a secondary school, and then one last just escaped me. So we have 4.
Is any of them a grade A school?
No, the Tetrim Secondary School is an old school that has been in the system for some time. That one can be within the B schools thereabouts. Okay. Those one can be the B because they have been in the system for a very long time. It was one of the schools that was adopted by as one of the model schools.
We should be interested,
so now called,
as you're saying.
No, but it's a very good point.
The point I'm making is that we should be interested in increases in enrollment. We should also be interested in final outcomes.
That's a good point.
It's the only way to make a fair judgment about the progress we are making.
That's
all I'm saying. And in fact, I'm saying that the figures released by the annual progress report of the National Development Planning Commission raises concerns for worry. Serious concerns for worry. That's all I'm saying. Okay.